Hello and welcome to the Football Parliament podcast, the one stop destination for your football debates, opinions, and discussions. What a start we've had to the 2021-22 season of the English Premier League. And in today's video, I'm going to be giving you all my thoughts on how the teams, particularly the big six teams, have started their PL campaigns and what do I expect from them for the rest of the season. Starting off with the three teams that you all can see are tied on points at the top of the table: Liverpool, Chelsea, and Manchester United, all having bright starts to the season. I personally think that Chelsea and Liverpool have been the two best teams in the league. Manchester United, I think I'll talk about them first because they were the most talked about team, the most discussed team coming into the season, making those headline grabbing signings in Cristiano Ronaldo, Jadon Sancho, and they have actually started the season quite well. A notable absentee from their squad has been Marcus Rashford due to surgery injury, but then his boots have been perfectly replaced by Mason Greenwood, who, according to me, has been one of the best players in the Premier League so far. Also, a big shout out to Paul Pogba, who already has 7 assists to his name, which is quite impressive. Cristiano Ronaldo, no one ever doubted him, has hit the grounds running in Manchester. Already, I think he is the joint uh, top scorer of the Premier League despite playing 2 games less. And I really don't think it matters the kind of goals that Ronaldo has scored, be it tap-ins or keeper mistakes, because all of them count the same. Talking about Manchester United, they've got the results on the side. They've played some good attacking football, but I do expect them to only get better going forward with the season. A lot of their players look a bit rough. At times, they look like they've not played with each other, not gelling well. Their victories haven't been extremely satisfactory, according to me. I can recollect one game against Southampton in which they won by a goal to nil. It was a Mason Greenwood strike, but then it was very lucky. It was kind of a keeper error, or and Southampton, on the other hand, had many good chances. One right at the end when Adam Armstrong missed a one-on-one against David De Gea, reminding me of De Gea. I think he's also been one of the best players in the league this season so far. Has made some really, really great saves for United, and out of the 13 points, I think a good, you could say, 4 or 5 points, I think Man United do owe it to him. I also remember him making the amazing double save in probably the first 2 games of the season, and most recently the penalty stop in the last kick of the game against Mark Noble. All in all, Manchester United, I think that they need to get more clean sheets. I don't think they've gotten a lot of clean sheets. There was Leeds. The first victory was quite good, but then they conceded one. And I think so has been the case. They at times do allow the opposition to come back into the game, after which they do take control once again. But then you might think that when Manchester United play the better teams like the likes of Chelsea, the likes of Man City, once you do allow them a path back into the game, they do have the kind of defensive structure and players to not let their advantage slip. So I think Manchester United for now, they have got a big hole in their team in the defensive mid position. But I really hope that uh, I wouldn't hope as a Chelsea fan, but our Manchester United fan would definitely hope that Matic or Fred does maybe McTominay fill in, just step up for this particular season before they look into other options in the market. All in all, Manchester United, 13 points in 5 games, impressive start. I think that I don't think there's any more to be said. So let's move on to Chelsea then. Chelsea, as a Chelsea fan, I think I'm very, very impressed by the way that we've started the season. We've completely taken off from how we left last season. Um, Only one goal conceded, zero from open play. So that's a very impressive according to me. We've already played three out of the top six, or sorry, let me rephrase myself, three out of the big six teams in Liverpool and the two North London teams, along with Aston Villa, who aren't any small boys themselves, and Crystal Palace. So it's not like the fixtures have been very easy, but Tuchel, the way that the team is defending right now, you know, you could probably say that they only stain on this perfect record was the 1-1 draw with Liverpool, because other than that, it has been all wins. But it was that game that impressed me the most about Chelsea, because defending a a 1-1 for 45 minutes against a Jurgen Klopp team, against a Jurgen Klopp Liverpool team, is definitely not the easiest of tasks in the world. And I really don't see, if I forgot to mention, with 10 men, sorry, with 10 men. So I really doubt if there are many teams in world football who would be able to do that. The kind of defensive structure, the kind of defensive drilling, and the teamwork that I did see against Liverpool that day, it did convince me that Chelsea are definitely one of the, you could say, front runners to win the Premier League this season. We've also added goals, something that was missing in last season with the addition of Romelu Lukaku, who, as his counterpart Cristiano Ronaldo, which I do guess will be the, golden boot race for this season, has hit the grounds running on his return to the Premier League. Chelsea have, if I'm not wrong, scored about 2.4 goals a game in the Premier League. Lukaku already with 3 goals, an amazing brace against Aston Villa. And then he also scored in the UCL, the lone goal against Zenit, and one against Arsenal as well. So, all in all, I think that Chelsea do have started really, really well. If I'm being very honest with you, the one game that I did not like the way Chelsea played was actually against Zenit, where we were at times completely unable to beat their low block. So I think this needs to be something that Chelsea should work on, because we can't afford to drop points against the likes of, you've got Burnley, you've got the other teams that you do know are going to be playing a low block against you. Chelsea at times have lacked creativity. One big positive could be that we've already had 10 different goal scorers in the Premier League, 11 in all competitions, and it's only been 5 games and 7 in all competitions. So that's very, very impressive. I think both Mendy and Kepa, a lot of clean sheets already. The back three has been rock solid. Thiago Silva with the man of the match performance against Spurs. Antonio Rudiger, I can't tell you how impressed I have been from Rudiger. Christensen, Aspilicueta, like the way they were playing last season, have started the season brightly as well. You got to feel sad for Ben Chilwell, whose last game was actually the Champions League finals, but we can't really blame Tuchel, saying the way Marcus Alonso is playing. Total props Tuchel for completely turning the player's career around from a third choice left back at during Frank Lampard's time to one of the best wing backs in the Premier League. Reece James had a good game against Arsenal as well. The best thing, the biggest strength that Chelsea I do see going into the season is the pivot options. I think Kante, Jorginho, Kovacic are three of the best 10 mids in the Premier League, and Kante and Jorginho in particular are definitely three of the top 5 mids in the Premier League. Kovacic being third choice is actually showing the kind of quality that we have in this particular position, because I think apart from Manchester City, Kovacic would start for each and every team in the league. And yes, I do mean that. And haven't even spoken about Saul Niguez when it comes to the pivot options. Romelu Lukaku with the goal. And now the only concern that I've had about Chelsea so far this season are the two players that have accompanied Lukaku, be it Mason Mount, be it Kai Havertz, be it Hakim Ziyech, or Pulisic, who's injured. None of these players have impressed me so far this season. Mount and Havertz having totally different seasons to what they had during the last end of the last season. And I really hope that this changes. I really hope that Werner, who showed glimpses of what he can do against Spurs, hits the ground running. I really hope that Mason Mount finds his form back, and there is more service for Lukaku. There is more creativity in this team. Talking about Liverpool, then I saw many people, saying that Liverpool might not finish top four during their pre-season predictions. I personally also put Liverpool in fourth position in my predictions. My main reason for the same was their squad depth, and I think I will still stand by my squad depth point. But seeing the quality of their starting 11, one could definitely make a case that Liverpool have the best starting 11 in the Premier League. So if they do manage to get all of their players fit, which has been the case so far, except for Harvey Elliott, which has been an absentee, but not the biggest one for Liverpool. So if they do manage to keep this set of players fit and play week in and week out, they have strengthened, though in some positions, they have increased their centre back depth with Konate. They signed Costa Simicas, who started the season brightly at left back. So yes, there are good signs for Liverpool in the start of the season, and if, as I have continuously been saying, they keep their players fit, if they continue to get these good results, they would definitely be one of the teams who you could say would contend for the Premier League this season. Now then, moving on to Manchester City, the favourites to win the Premier League at the start of the season, not a 10 on 10 start, not a complete disastrous start as well. If you look at Manchester City's start to this season's Premier League, it's been a bit of a up and down story already. The first game was against Tottenham Hotspur. Everyone definitely expected City to win it, but it was Tottenham who came away with all 3 points. Then followed two games against Norwich and Arsenal, two 5-0 wins in a row for City, which cleared their ambitions. That they still possess one of the best attacks in the world right now. But then after the two games, I think they had another game against Leicester City. They weren't particularly totally convincing in that game as well, according to me. But the biggest blow then again came when they were unable to score against Southampton in a 0-0 draw. Also, few of the pitch issues with Pep Guardiola making those comments about uh, fans in the stadiums, which reportedly did not please the city owners. So maybe these off the pitch discussions, these off the pitch matters might come into uh, City's negative effect this season. But their main weakness so far, I don't have to say it, it is their problem of not having a proper number nine in the box. I saw them play against Southampton, and at many times, the way they started last season, Gundogan was making those forward runs. He was making those late runs, getting into the box for. I saw one of very delightfully cut in by Raheem Sterling. I saw one cross by Kyle Walker, and none of this was even on target by Ilkay Gundogan, because he's definitely not a striker. He is a box-to-box midfielder, quite a good one. But if I did see someone like a Harry Kane starting for Manchester City, had they signed him in the summer, I definitely think that they would have been much, much better than they are right now. At the first instance, it was just Tino Livramento who shoved Gundogan off. The second time, he's not tall enough to, guide a proper header on target. So I definitely think that they are missing a number nine right now. They've tried Ferran Torres, which hasn't been too bad. He's already scored. They've the only number nine in the natural number nine team, Gabriel Jesus, has been tried on the wings. So he's not been too bad on the wings either. I actually read this one very good meme about Manchester City that other clubs retire a jersey number in the honor of a club legend. Manchester City actually retired a total position in the honor of Sergio Aguero, which is the striker position, by not signing another striker. Jokes apart, I think that City are still gonna uh, challenge for the title along with Chelsea, Liverpool, potentially Manchester United, because they've got the best manager in the league. They've got arguably the best squad depth in the league. They've got world class players, and yeah, not a lot to say about City as well. So, right then, let's move on to the two North London clubs in Tottenham Hotspurs and Arsenal. Talking about Arsenal first, not the best start to their Premier League season, especially in their first two games. And there were, just the way, I think it was actually the first three games in which they found themselves at the 20th place after the third game. I think fans were being overcritical, especially rival fans, about Arsenal, because they actually played Chelsea and Manchester City, which are definitely two of the title front runners, and one poor result against Brentford. So I think there were people for banter, for the memes, saying that Arsenal are in a relegation race and all was fine. But then there were people who actually believed that, and I think that was pretty silly. If you think that Arsenal are in the relegation race, I don't think you should be betting your money on that, because they've got players who are too good to be in a relegation race. They've gotten their best squad back. They've got Gabriel back. They've got Ben White back, and we see the change in results. Okay, you could say that the other two games have been relatively easier fixtures on paper with Norwich and Burnley, two teams that we could see dropping to the championship come the end of the season. But regardless, it is 6 points for Arsenal. As I mentioned, not the best start of the season, especially not just the first three defeats in terms of 0 points, but the manner of the defeats, especially the one against Manchester City. They seemed totally helpless. Uh, they seemed ineffective, and I think this must change for Mikel Arteta, whose future is under great scrutiny right now. If I was the Arsenal board, I know it doesn't sound too fitting, me being a Chelsea fan, a club that expects instant results from managers, but I would give Mikel Arteta time. I have seen enough of him to be convinced that he can build a good project at Arsenal. Not to forget, they've got quite a young squad: Ben White, Gabriel, Tierney, who's 24. They've got Saka, Martinelli. So Odegaard, Emil Smith Rowe. So all of these players, Ramsdale, okay, I've already listed them. So all of these players, they will do good, but they will require time. They've also made a number of signings, so they will also require time to gel in with each other. As of yet, as you all can see, they stand in the 13th place with 6 points, 2 wins, 3 losses. Finally, then let's talk about Tottenham, another team with contrasting results in the start of the season, when 3 wins were followed by 2 losses, exactly opposite to Arsenal, where 3 losses were followed by 2 wins. Tottenham started the season very, very well. Nuno Espirito Santo, uh, in his first season as Tottenham manager, picked the manager of the month award, deservingly so, with the only team being on 9 points during the end of last month. Three 1-0 victories, which they were grinding results. The first one was extremely impressive against Manchester City. Son scoring, you could say that that goal had a bit of fortune, but if you are playing the kind of system that Nuno does at, uh, be it Wolves or Tottenham, you do need that a bit of fortune to score, and then you need the defensive compactness to restrict a team like Manchester City, which is not an easy task from any stretch of imagination. He has got the likes of Lucas Moura, Son, Bergwijn to spread the legs. Harry Kane not having the best start to the season, still hasn't scored, still hasn't assisted. Only 10 touches in the opposition box for Kane across the 4 games I think he's played. So we all know he is a great striker. He's a world-class striker. In my very humble opinion, after Robert Lewandowski, he's right up there with the likes of Romelu Lukaku, with the likes of Karim Benzema, Cristiano Ronaldo, Erling Haaland, as definitely a top 5 striker in the world. So I do expect him to do better. I hope that he's gotten his stuff mentally sorted, that he is staying at Tottenham for this season. There is nothing that Kane, Tottenham, or City can do about it. I think he could have dealt with uh, stuff in the summer window a little bit differently, a little bit better, but that's a debate for another day. For now, Tottenham, the last 2 games haven't been convincing. 3 1-0 victories followed by 2 3-0 losses actually against Crystal Palace and Chelsea. It all just fell apart for Tottenham against Crystal Palace in the second half, and then against Chelsea again in the second half. Talking about the one against Chelsea in particular, they really, really started the game very well. I think they ruled the first 15 to 20 minutes. They completely dominated the first half. Nuno would probably be thinking that they should have manufactured a goal from the first half itself, because uh, come the halftime whistle, Thomas Tuchel, I don't know what did he say to the boys in the locker talk. He did introduce N'Golo Kante. Chelsea played a 3-5-2 with actually three centre backs, two wing backs, three midfielders who are predominantly box to box midfielders, with Jorginho being the deeper line defensive mid, and two people up top. So, and we did get three goals in one half and a lot of shots on target. So, this is something that Chelsea can try in the future. Probably not. It doesn't exactly go well for the kind of players that we've had, because you can't be playing a 3-5-2 without Romelu Lukaku. He is a must. And then for the other person alongside Romelu Lukaku, you've got about five or six players competing for one spot. So with Pulisic, with Ziyech, Mount, Werner, Havertz, Hudson-Odoi. So this probably won't work, but in some situations like the one against Tottenham, I really liked the tactical change by Thomas Tuchel. Really took the game to Tottenham, completely dominated the midfield. Kovacic so brilliant, and Tottenham was so helpless. But all in all, I think Nuno has got few positives. We all, of course, have the Tottenham and Arsenal game up next, the North London derby. Actually, if Arsenal do win this game, they will be level on points against Tottenham. And if I'm being very honest with you, I actually see a better season for Arsenal than Tottenham. Some people think that I'm being overly confident about Arsenal. Even when it came to my preseason predictions, I predicted them to finish fifth. I don't think fifth after the first three games went, but definitely a top half finish for Arsenal, and somewhere around mid table for Tottenham is what I predict for these two clubs. Finishing off with how I think my preseason predictions would have changed in 5 games. See, I won't say that 5 games is a very short period, because 5 games is still a good 450 minutes of football. And we've seen the new signings. In my preseason predictions, I did say that Manchester City will win the league, United will come second, Chelsea third, and Liverpool fourth. Do I have I seen enough from any of these teams to change my prediction? I think I've seen enough from Chelsea to not be or not part of the top two, but then I've also seen enough from Manchester United to not be a part of the top two. And Manchester City, I'm not been convinced by them this season at all. But then it's Pep Guardiola, though, he's not won 3 Premier Leagues in the last 4 seasons for nothing. So, oh, it's really complicated, and I think we're going to see a good title race in the Premier League this season after a very long time. After season of Liverpool dominating last year's 3 seasons of City dominating, I think this season is going to be a really good title race. I can swap probably Chelsea and Manchester United. I can maybe swap Manchester United and Liverpool. I'm not so sure at the moment. For now, I'll stick to my preseason predictions. I won't change it in a matter of 5 games, but we will see. We will see. And thank you all for listening to the end. That was today's video. I've given you all a roundup, a summary, kind of a highlights of the 5 game weeks in the Premier League so far. So yeah, as usual, for more top quality football content, keep listening to the Football Parliament podcast. Thank you.